Today we're finding out if a $200 deck can work in a $4,000 deck format. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Budget Magic. And this week, we're trying to find out if a under $200 deck can compete in a over $4,000 deck format. We're playing some Budget Legacy Burn, and if you look at the Legacy meta, just look at these decks. Delver, 4,000 plus, 8 cast, 2,500 lands, 9,500, almost a $10,000 deck. 3,000, 6,000, 1,000, 4,000, 6,000 almost, 2,700, almost 6,000. If you average this up, the average cost of like a top 8, top 10 legacy deck is definitely over $4,000. So we're going to find out if a under $200 version of Burn is actually competitive in a format. And to put this in context, when you consider that in Standard, we usually have a $100 max budget, and decks are what? Well, let's look at the Standard meta real quick. 300, 350, 200, 300, 250, under 200, $100 deck in a $300 deck format. That would mean that our legacy deck is the equivalent of playing like a $5 standard deck or something. It is super duper ultra budget compared to the format that we're playing it in. So anyway, let's talk real quick about our budget legacy burn deck, jump into a legacy league, and find out if a under $200 deck can actually compete in the format. All right, so here is our $185 legacy burn deck, and not gonna spend a ton of time talking about the deck list. I mean, it's burn. We got aggro creatures, a ton of burn spells. That's basically the plan. Creature-wise, we got 3: Goblin Guide, Monastery Swiftspear, Eidolon of the Great Revels. Last time we played budget legacy burn, 2017, I want to say, so like 5 years ago. Goblin Guide was like a $30+ card, so we couldn't play it. It's been reprinted a bunch. Now we get the best red 1-drop of all time. Eidolon, really good in legacy, in part because a lot of decks are built around cheap spells, so it triggers on a ton of stuff, and in part because Storm is like a real archetype, and this is our Storm hate card in the main deck. Burn spell wise, we got a ton of lightning bolts with one new one that we don't get in a format like Modern, Enchain Lightning, which is essentially just a sorcery speed bolt with a bunch of extra text that very rarely matters about someone copying it, but we got a ton of lightning bolt effects. Then we have 3 legacy exclusive cards that really power up legacy budget burn. Number 1, Price of Progress, 2 mana instant, 2 damage for each non-basic land a player controls. Our deck has a single 1 copy of a non-basic, so it basically does nothing to us, but there are going to be times when our opponent has 3, 4 non-basics, and this is 2 mana instant speed 6 damage or 8 damage, which is way above the curve. I mean, a little bit matchup dependent. If we run into a deck that's playing all basic lands, then it does nothing, but a lot of times this is going to be the most powerful 2 mana burn spell in all of Magic. Then the other big one is Fire Blast, 6 mana for 4 damage, but you can sack 2 mountains instead of paying its mana cost, and this is kind of our big finisher. We can sling our lightning bolts, do some attacking, and then sack our mana base to burn our opponent out of the game with Fire Blast. The other legacy exclusive is technically legal in like Modern, but no one plays it in Modern, and that's Exquisite Firecraft, which is 3 mana for 4 damage. The big deal is Spell Mastery. If we have 2 instants or sorceries in our graveyard, it becomes uncounterable. In Legacy, this is really important because everyone's playing Force of Will, everyone's playing Force of Negation, everyone's playing Daze. So against control decks, this is a way that we can get in some early damage, and then once our opponent does their control stuff and plays their Planeswalkers, we have this burn spell that can still close out the game even through our opponent's interaction. Otherwise, 1 light up the stage to draw some cards, 1 Roiling Vortex for a little extra damage, and it does hate on some things, like sometimes people get an Omniscience into play, or playing the 8 cast deck with a bunch of 0 mana plays. Roiling Vortex 5 damage mode can be relevant there. Mana base, a bunch of mountains, 1 Fiery Islet. In the sideboard, we get Graveyard hate, Artifact hate, Creature hate, Roiling Vortex for life gain hate and free spells, Blue Elemental Blast to deal with control decks, and that is $185 legacy burn. So let's find out, can an under $200 deck compete in an over $4,000 deck format? Let's jump into a legacy league, sling some burn spells, and see what happens. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap up. Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. You can pick up all the Magic the Gathering cards you need and support the show, and even get a free MTG Goldfish sticker by heading over to cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. Budget Magic time. We are hitting up some legacy this week, trying to find out if a $100-ish deck can compete in a, I don't even know, $4,000-ish deck format. How about a Goblin Guide? How do you feel about a Goblin Guide? Opponent with an island. Well, get in, hit ya. His hand's not bad. We got enough lands. Would prefer our opponent to play some non-basics. Opponent's gonna brainstorm. Make sure that they hit a land with this Goblin Guide. All right, so opponent's going to 18. Then we have 3, 6, wait and see, 4. Oh, it's a not, wow. Huh. Somehow our opponent managed to brainstorm, and are they brainstorm locked? Oh, they're brainstorm locked. Wow, that's very good news for us. Oh, this might be a freebie. Land, how about a Monastery Swiftspear? Opponent's going to force a will, sure. How about a Lava Spike? So pretty likely that our opponent's not drawing a land. Wow, okay. Opponent double force. Well, get in with the Goblin Guide. Opponent's top card, Jace the Mind Sculptor. So our opponent's a minute away from casting anything. Opponent passes. Ooh, Roiling Vortex. Go to combat. Hit you with a Goblin Guide. Preferably not reveal it. So opponent's got Narset, Jace, and 2 unknowns. Ponder on top. Skewer the Critics, your face. Roiling Vortex. The only bad news about this is because our opponent's missing land drops, our Price of Progress, they're fizzling. Maybe this is intentional. Do you think our opponent's intentionally missing land drops to play around Price of Progress? I think we might have figured it out. Opponent passes. Gets pinged. Burn spell, please. Oh my god, Price of Progress. Okay, well, go to combat. Top card is a land, down to 7. We need our opponent to get some non-basics. These Price of Progresses are not looking great. Opponent goes to 6. Scalding Tarn goes to 5. Non-basic. There we go. There we go. Show us those Tundras. Prismatic Ending. Okay. Opponent passing. Price of Progress you? Down to 1. Untap. Get pinged. Opponent didn't crack. They could have cracked the fetch, but yeah, I mean, well, we got there. When we're playing $100-ish deck against a $4,000 deck, not gonna complain about our opponent getting brainstorm locked. Blue Blast in. That might be about it. Bring the Blue Blasts. What's bad? Is Roiling Vortex bad? Exquisite Firecraft's good. I mean, we basically want to do what we did that game. And by that I mean, have our opponent not hit their land drops, and then we got them. But no, we had a pretty good hand that game. They're probably going to try to play around the Price of Progress. Maybe we trim a Price of Progress. Go down 1 Price of Progress and 1... You know what, let's go down the 1 Roiling Vortex. Especially, we saw Prismatic Ending, so it's not like, oh, we jam this and it's gonna stick there all game. If our opponent wants to kill it, they can kill it, and it's pretty slow damage. Well, I mean, this we're gonna keep. Only 1 land, but I think that's fine. Our deck would rather... Yeah, it's Goblin Guide. Our deck would rather have too few lands than too many, I think. Goblin Guide. The opponent. What are we dismembering? Get in. Top card. Please not a land. Okay, Brainstorm. All right, let's get a repeat. Instant replay. Can our opponent somehow not have a land again? All right, this time our opponent does have a land. Drops to 18. All right, so we would like to draw land number 2 and eventually land number 3. Those are on our approved list. But it passes land. Chain Lightning. Well, Monastery Swiftspear. Go to combat. Attack you. The problem is, we know our opponent's like a Narset wheel deck, so there's a risk. All right, gonna Swords of Goblin Guide. Oh, get another free land. That's not great. We know there's a risk of our hand getting wiped out, so we really would love to draw a second land so we can try to empty our hand in the near-ish future. Opponent passes. Top card is not a land. Lava Spike you. Ugh. Yes, 1 land thing might be an issue. Opponent's going to force a negation, pitches Supreme Verdict. Still at 16. Cracks the Vesta, gets an island. Snapcaster Swords. All right. Well, our opponent has officially dealt with everything, and we are still on 1 land. I'm a little nervous. If our opponent can untap and play a Planeswalker, we're gonna be in trouble. I mean, we have lethal damage in hand. I just don't know if we can resolve it. Land. Opponent hits us with the Snapcaster. Down to 22, not a land. We'll suspend a Rift Bolt past the turn. Suspending Rift Bolt's risky, because if our opponent plays 3 mana to Fairy, it does stop suspend. Oh, we really need land number 2, like, soon. Opponent, Volcanic Island. Gets in, hits us. At least they haven't played a Planeswalker or anything yet. Down to 20. All right. Shuriki Genesis Engine. Land, we need a land. That's cool to see a new commander card showing up in Legacy. Rift Bolt your face. Oh my god. Suspend a Rift Bolt. With 1 land, this isn't gonna work. We just cannot. We have lethal plus 1,000,000 in hand. We just cannot deploy our hand fast enough with one land. And our opponent's getting a clock going. Opponent goes to combat. Like, they are getting there. Hits us. And they're drawing cards, so they're going to find counters. They're going to find Jace. They're going to find Narset wheels. Opponent going to draw more cards. And this card's pretty good once you get it down. Oh, if we had drawn that second land, we would have had him. I think almost for sure. As it is, I'm not feeling confident at all. Opponent. Pilot, drawing many cards, passing. Well, here comes Riftbolt, still going face. Come on, deck. Give us that land. Riftbolt you? Opponent, Flusterstorm. Yeah, they're gonna draw a lot of counters. Thanks to, their vehicle over there. Land, maybe? Well, there's a land. Is it fast enough? Chain Lightning you. Opponent, Snapcaster Flusterstorm. Yeah, looking a little too late. Flusterstorms again. Yep. Yeah, that's the one thing about Burn is it's got very specific land requirements. When you draw one land, it's a problem. When you draw more than 3 lands, it's a problem. You really need to be in that sweet spot of 2 or 3 lands. That's where the deck actually feels very strong. Opponent goes to combat, gets in, hits us. Yeah, down to 11. That's not a lot of life. Opponent's gonna draw even more cards. And I think now we're dead on board. Ponders, yeah. Land number 2 just a little bit too late. Kind of a lot too late. Turn 6 is a lot too late. Opponent plays a land, passes, we draw. Chain Lightning. We are just officially dead here. Chain Lightning your face. Pass the turn. Because our opponent can just turn on the vehicle now and smash us for lethal. And I don't think we're going to be able to stop it. Like, these crew the vehicle. I guess we can try to Lightning Bolt a Snapcaster, but even that is not good. But that's our, like, only chance of maybe living. Gonna die with lethal in hand, force a negation. Well, the good news is, okay, now we're even. Our opponent had their Mana Screw game. We had our Mana Screw game. Now we're on the play for game number 3, which is good. That's very good. And we're gonna run it back, and we are going to have our perfect little burn draw and win with our $100 deck. I think it's actually like 150 or something. We're rounding a little bit, but I mean, it's Legacy, which a $150 deck in Legacy is like a, I don't even know, $1 deck in Modern or something. Or maybe Standard, probably not Modern. Well, here we go again. Do we draw land number 2? That is the age-old question, Goblin Guide. Go to combat. If we draw land number 2, I love this hand. Opponent, Snapcaster Mage on top. If we don't draw land number 2, we'll see. Opponent, Flooded Strand. Cracks Flooded Strand. Down to 17. Tundra, getting the non-basic, and Prismatic Ending. Well, that's not a land. Goblin Guide. Oh no, is this gonna happen exactly again? Go to combat. Attack ya. Opponent. Force of Will on top, down to 15. Well, we know a free counter is coming. Opponent plays a land, passes. We draw. Oh my god, again not a land. Monastery Swiftspear. Opponent's gonna force it. Go to combat. Top card. They can't ambush Viper with Snapcaster. Another Force of Will. Opponent takes it to 12. So we're gonna Snapcaster Prismatic Ending. We really need to draw land. Snapcaster. Prismatic Ending. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. Show us a land, please. Goblin Guide down. Skewer the Critics. Can't cast that. Riftbolt suspended. Go. Oh, no. Not like this. This is the most brutal way to lose twice in a row against a control deck. Opponent passes. Here comes our Riftbolt. It's going to go at our opponent's face. Opponent. Force a negation. Well, there's a land, thank the magic gods. Eidolon of the Great Revels. Finally, pass the turn. All right, so land number 2's down. That's helpful. That is helpful. Opponent, Prismatic Vesta, cracks it. Plains. Big Prismatic Ending. 2 cards left in hand. Opponent goes attacking. All right, what do we find? Red Blast. I kind of like Red Blast. Swiftspear. Go to combat. Attack you. Yeah, let's pass and leave up this Red Blast this turn. Opponent. Narset. Counter it. All right, opponent lets it go. Passes. Well, Lightning Bolt your face. Go to combat. Attack with the Swiftspear. Opponent blocks. Skewer the Critics your face. Are we going for it? Oh, we know there's a force in hand. We're gonna pass. We're gonna pass. It kind of feels like our opponent doesn't have a counter, but we know they have the force to Fairy Time Raveler. Okay. Bounces a Swift Spear. Opponent passes. I'll play the Swift Spear. Opponent forces. But that means our opponent lost life to turn on Spectacle. Skewer you. We got there! Our opponent's deck has cards that are about the same cost as our entire deck. All right, that was good. That was good. Look at all the piles of expensive cards. Can't keep up with some janky, like, modern legal burn spells, apparently. Sweet, 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 sweet. Budget Magic time. We are legacying this week. For the first time in a while, we are playing some super cheap burn. I know. We played this deck 5 years ago or something. Well, a version of it. It's changed. I mean, it's been 5 years. But we did play a version of Legacy Burn 5 years ago. But it's one of the best budget decks, and Burn is kind of a fun archetype in its own weird way. So I think it's about time to revisit. There's not that many decks in Legacy that are cheap enough that you can actually compete with. And is our opponent skipping their... Okay, sure. I guess our opponent wants us to play first. We'll start with a Monastery Swift Spear and hit you for a 1. So our opponent could be some sort of like dredge deck where they're trying Reanimator, where they're trying to discard the hand size. Or they just messed up and have a 0 lander. Oh my god. Oh, it's like Oops All Spells or something. Are we dead? Oh god. Are we dead? We're gonna die before we get to play this Eidolon. This Eidolon would be great, but our opponent's hand is just so fast that we're gonna be, I think, dead. You never know in Legacy. Sometimes your opponent skips their first turn and then kills you on turn 2. All right, so it is Oops All Spells. Our opponent wins the game. If you've never seen this, so Undercity Informant mills the entire deck. That's gonna get 3 Narc Amoebas. The Narc Amoebas give you the ability to, where is it in here? To cast Dread Return. Dread Return is going to get back a Thassa's Oracle, I assume? Yeah, Thassa's Oracle. And opponent's got no cards in their deck, so they win. The cost of this is you don't get to play any real lands, and your deck is graveyard dependent. So now we get to play a fun sub game, which is bring in Leyline of the Void. Also, maybe the Roiling Vortexes. They have a lot of cards they cast without spending mana. So bring those in. We'll go down the light up this stage. We're gonna go down, I think, Price of Progress. The no land deck seems like a pretty good matchup for Price of Progress. So we're gonna cut that one. I mean, they probably have some MDFCs, but really they have very few lands. We just saw them, they killed us with 0 lands. Go down Exquisite Firecraft. I mean, so really, this matchup is about one thing. Leyline of the Void. We gotta fight Leyline of the Void. We gotta hope our opponent can't answer the Leyline of the Void. If we have a Leyline of the Void, our opponent can't win, which is good news. Other cards that would be good, Eidolon of the Great Revel is pretty punishing, although I don't think it can deal the full 20, so our opponent can probably still combo through it. Roiling Vortex actually seems kind of hilarious if we get it down soon enough, but really, Leyline, well, okay, 0 lander, we're not keeping that. Leyline. Sounds actually kind of good. We will keep. We will put a Swift Spear to the bottom. We will start with a Leyline of the Void. So our opponent's going to be mulliganing not only to try to find their combo, but they probably are assuming we have Leyline. So they're likely mulliganing to find an answer to the Leyline and hopefully have their combo pieces. This isn't bad though. We only had to go to 6, so we get the Leyline and we still have a hand that can deal some damage. Would like to draw 1 more land, obviously, but all right, so start with the Leyline. Goblin Guide feels like a free roll, I think. Mountain and Goblin Guide. Because our opponent can't play any real lands, so we know they're not going to be revealing lands. Chrome Mox. Well, let's see if they got the answer. So 1 more land's the best. 1 more land we can Swift Spear, Lava Spike. It turns on Fire Blast, but no more lands after that. Opponent passes. Another Leyline. Well, we're not going to be casting that one. Go to combat. Hit ya for 3. Top card is mana. Turn Timber Symbiosis is... That's a source of mana our opponent can play. And green mana is big, because green mana does mean, like, Nature's Claim and so forth. Answers to Leyline. Ooh, that's not exactly what we wanted to see on the top of our opponent's deck. Opponent's waiting. We draw land, maybe? No. Lightning Bolt. Well, we will. Yeah, I mean, we're going to Lava Spike. If they have the answer, they have the answer. Hit you to 12. Hit you to 8. Top card. Another turn Timber. We're a land away from winning next turn. This means our opponent's going to go for it, though, if they can. Do they have the answer? Come on, hold, Leyline, hold. Right at the moment, if we draw land, we have lethal next turn. If not, we're 1 damage short. Turn Timber. Oh no, are we about to get comboed? Opponent's thinking if they're gonna play it untapped. Oh, plays it tapped. Come on, land. Roiling Vortex. Well, yeah, Lightning Bolt our opponent. Wow, are we gonna end up 1 point of damage short? Top card. Undercity Informer. All right, opponent's at 1. Oh no. Do they have the answer to the ley line? Lotus. Okay, I mean, we have 6. We can't do anything. If we had drawn the land, we had it. If we had drawn the land, we had it with the Fire Blast. Chromox. Yup. Exiles Undercity Informer. Cabal Ritual. Up to 3. Summoner's Pact. Well, it looks like our opponent's going for it. Foundation Breaker. Another Summoner's Pact. Elvish Spirit Guide. Wow, do they have a hand that wins? Foundation Breaker. And this is, wow, exactly lethal with another Undercity Informer in hand. Practice, Undercity Informer, Elvish Spirit Guide. Wow, okay. Oh my god, we live. Huh, I don't know what our opponent's plan there was. Wow, okay, well, we lived, and we know the plan. I would feel more comfortable with 2 ley lines. Magic Gods, how about like 2 ley lines, 2 Goblin Guides? I don't think we can keep this. Turn 1, nothing. Turn 2, Eidolon. That's not going to do it. We got to have a ley line. Okay. No ley line. That's not good. Opponent's stopping at 6. Oh, no, that's not a ley line. Okay, there's a ley line. 3 cards to the bottom. Rift Bolt. Roiling Vortex. Land. All right, ley line of the void. It's all up to you, buddy. It's all up to you. This time we had to mulligan way further than we wanted, which is not great. Land. Goblin Guide. Would have liked to have been able to keep the Roiling Vortex, but I don't think there was a way. Hit you with the Goblin Guide. Top. Oh! Our death has been foretold. That's a Force of Vigor. Land. Goblin Guide. Lava Spike. Hit ya. Agadim. Opponent goes to 11. This is where something like an Eidolon would maybe give us a chance, assuming we actually get a turn here. Opponent passes. Oh, another ley line that we're not casting that one. The problem is we know they have the Force of Vigor. So we know our opponent can answer the ley line at any, I mean, as long as they got a green card. Opponent, 7. Ley line, not the best draw at the moment. Is this where it comes? Yep. Pitches a Summoner's Pact. Yeah, we had to mulligan a little bit too far to find the ley line. Left us a little short on resources to actually kill our opponent. Yeah, doing their things. I mean, Spirit Guides, Undercity Informer. Same combo we saw in game 1. I mean, that's close. That's exactly how this matchup plays out. Oh, that was really, really, really close. If we had had one more turn, we would actually just had lethal. But, all right, fair enough. Budget Magic time. We are legacying this week. We're playing some Legacy Burn. Seeing if a $100-ish deck can compete in a $4-ish thousand deck format. It is like ultra budget essentially in Legacy. This hand looks fine. A little bit of risk if we draw more. If we draw more of these mountains, we're gonna have a rough go of it. But well, Swift Spear. Hit ya for 1. Pass the turn. What are you up to? Polluted Delta. Cracks it. Underground Sea, and all right, gonna take a burn spell. So opponent's a combo deck. Good news is we have this Eidolon, which if our opponent can't deal with and they're trying to storm, is really, really good. Opponent takes the Lava Spike. Lotus Petal. So opponent's going to try to run out as much as they can now to get around the Eidolon. Well, play the land. Eidolon. Save us, friend. Opponent. I mean, if our opponent's playing Reanimator, we're in trouble. If they're playing Storm, uh-oh. All right, opponent cracks to Brainstorm. I mean, basically, we're hoping this Eidolon just wins us the game. And it might. Opponent brainstorms. All right, opponent finds a Force of Will. Well, that's worse. But our opponent only has 2 cards in hand, so that's something. Opponent, Scalding Tarn, brainstorms, and we did draw another Eidolon, which is good. Well, we'll see. Hopefully our opponent can't go off here with 2 cards. That would be bad. Well, another mountain, not ideal. Chain Lightning you. Trigger the Swift Spear. Opponent. Down to 13. Swift Spear hits ya. Down to 11. Eidolon Part 2. This one sticks. All right, Eidolon. Please be enough. Opponent goes to 10. They can cast 5 spells under the Eidolon. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Show and tell. Is this Grizzlebrand? Omniscience. Profane Tutor. And we're dead. Oh, yeah. Yikes. That was close. We lose every permanent. Oh my goodness. The free Profane Tutor without having to suspend. Yeah, okay. Red Elemental Blast. I guess Roiling Vortex? Maybe? Go down a Firecraft. Go down a Price of Progress. Opponent's a pretty land-light deck. Maybe they'll light up the stage in a Rift Bolt? Try it like that? We needed like one more turn. So close. These matchups are pretty tricky because it's not like we really have much interaction. Like Eidolon is about as close to interacting as we get. Sounds pretty bad. I mean, we have a Red Elemental Blast, but the rest of the hand's so bad. All right, we'll keep. We will put a Swift Spear to the bottom. Actually, you know what? Let's put Fire Blast to the bottom. Let's see what we can do. How quickly can we kill him? Eidolon is kind of a bit of a hate card. Goblin Guide. Please don't reveal a land. Reveals Omniscience. Oh boy, Omniscience. Okay. That's a thing that might be happening. Opponent adapts. Island. Ponders. Well, we know the Omniscience is in hand, which is very, very frightening. That means if they have Show and Tell, we could be dead as early as next turn. Or maybe we draw the Red Elemental Blast. Well, let's Swift Spear. Hit ya. Top card. Oh dear, Force of Will. Oh. Well, that might mean our opponent can combo with Force Protection. Brainstorm. Drawing a land would be nice. Eidolon plus Red Blast would be good. That Force is definitely making me scared. There's an island and a ponder. All right, so opponents cantrip a bunch. They're going to have everything they want. Come on, land, please. Opponent passes. Land, land, land. Eidolon. Go to combat. Attack you. Top card, Preordain. Playing Eidolon. Opponent's going to force. Pitches Omniscience. City of Traders. Narset. Okay. Well, Narset doesn't just make us lose. We would still like to hit a land. Another force. Opponent passes. Land. Land. Chain Lightning. Well, we will Chain Lightning you. Opponent down to 8. Lava Spike you. This should eat the force, or our opponent's gonna die. Opponent forces. Pitching. What? Brainstorm. Go to combat. Do we have to kill the Narset? Yeah, probably. Actually, we can just put Narset to 1 and hit our opponent to 4. I think that's best. Omniscience on top. All right, opponent untaps. Preordains. I'd feel so much better if we could be leaving up this Red Blast. All right, scoops it up, scoops it up, scoops it up. I mean, it's a scary one. It is a scary matchup, but we got there. Price of Progress is not looking great, is it? Opponent was getting a lot of basics. Maybe we go back up Exquisite Firecraft. We got to do it on the draw. All right, run it like that, run it like that. I mean, we survived. It was close. These are just such scary matchups because our opponent's just like trying to execute their combo in our own weird Bernie way. We're sort of doing the same thing. It's really just a matter of who does their thing first. So opponent's on the play, frightening. Oh my god, we gotta keep this, right? We need one more land, and we got Roiling Vortex Eidolon. I mean, we gotta keep it. We gotta keep it. Scalding Tard. We do really need to draw another land. Underground Sea and Ponders. The scary part is I think if our opponent has their best draws, their deck's just faster than ours. Like their combo can kill. Well, we got the land, which is good. Their combo can kill before our combo can. Swift Spear. Go to combat. Hit ya. Opponent 18. Do they have it? Island. Suspends Profane Tutor. Okay. I'll play the land. I think Eidolon? Yeah, play Eidolon. Opponent's going to force, pitching Flusterstorm. All right, we'll hit you to 16. Opponent untaps. And, ooh, that's real bad. We needed that Roiling Vortex. That Roiling Vortex was our entire game plan here. I don't think we quite have lethal. 10. Actually, do we? Maybe we just have to go for lethal if they take the Vortex. 3, 6, 10. 14. Well, we'll see what they take. Takes a Vortex. All right, so, I mean, I think we have to try to win the game. Goblin Guide. Okay, random promos. Thank you, Wizards. The problem is a counter spell does kind of beat us, but our opponent's going to get this tutor next turn, so we got to assume they can go off. The issue here is we need to Fire Blast, and we can't wait. We have to do it now, and that'll require sacking all of our lands. All right, well, I mean, Chain Lightning you, opponent, to 11. Lightning Bolt you, opponent, 8. Oh my goodness, what a brutal situation. What a brutal situation. The problem is if they counter this, then we lose. But if we don't go for it, they get to tutor and they should be able to combo and win. I mean, we just got to do it, right? And hope that they don't have... Actually, we know they have a Flusterstorm, don't we? All right, hit ya with the Swift Spear. When did they get that Flusterstorm? Oh no, they pitch Flusterstorm. That's the Exile Zone. Oh, like, yep, I mean, okay, yep. I mean, we don't have a choice. We gotta go for it. Oh! Rewarded! Oh, they had the Emrakul Show and Tell too, so they had it. Land Emrakul Show and Tell. All of our agonizing. I guess you just can't play afraid. We're not gonna beat the Emrakul anyway, so yeah, you just YOLO it and hope for the best. Wow, that was scary. Well, we got there. Burn them out, burn them out. Sweet, sweet. Budget Magic time. We are burning in Legacy. We're playing a $100-ish deck in a $4-ish thousand deck format, and we'll keep this. 3 lands is kind of the max that we want with this deck. So 3 lands is kind of the max. We don't really want more than that, but this is a reasonable curve. Goblin Guide into Eidolon into Double Burn Spell. We just gotta not keep drawing lands. All right, Goblin Guide. Get in for 2. See what our opponent left on top of their deck with the Ponder. Prismatic Vesta. Opponent Brainstorms. All right, so this could be control, could be mid-range, could be combo. Blue mana cantrips. Prismatic Vesta makes me think some sort of value-y control pile, honestly, over combo. Combo is usually fine with grabbing non-basics. Opponent Prismatic Ending. Uh-oh. Mountain number 4 is never good for us. Eidolon of the Great Revel. Are we forcing? No. All right. Well, opponent taps. We do have a lot of points of damage worth of burn in hand. 9. 9 is kind of a big number. Down to 16. Teferi Time Raveler down to 14. Bounces the Eidolon. Opponent passes. We draw. Exquisite Firecraft. That could be a nice finish. So we will Lava Spike our opponent. Eidolon. Are they forcing this time? Okay, not yet. Oh, this is going to be close. Opponent taps. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mountain for our opponent. Takes up to Fairy. Opponent passes. Well, I do like Roiling Vortex. Play the land. Go to combat. Attack our opponent. Swords to Plowshares. Opponent goes to 9. Lava Spike you. Skewer the Critics you. Opponent forces. Roiling Vortex you. Pass the turn. This ping is essential. Hull Breacher. Uh-oh. If we get wheeled, then we don't have the Exquisite Firecraft. Opponent takes up to Fairy. Please just pass. Please just pass. This Firecraft can close out the game through counters. We get pegged. Oh! Okay. Wow. And I think we're dead. That is the worst. Like, literally the worst. Wow. Yeah. And now Teferi bounces a Vortex. Opponent's got 10 cards in hand, so the game is very... I mean, there's no way we're going to resolve anything for the rest of the game. Oh, we had it. We had it. Ah! Oh my god, and another Teferi. Yeah, I mean, that is such a brutal combo. Such a brutal combo, especially with Teferi for protection. It's just, what are we supposed to do about that? Opponent gets in, hits us. The answer is nothing. Oh, we were so... The disappointing part is how close we were. That's the part that's disappointing. Roiling Vortex. We even had the uncounterable one too, Force and Negation. Pass the turn. Oh, that Exquisite Firecraft was the dream. But dreams die to Hull Breakers, and mostly Teferi's. Opponent, instant speed ponder, shuffles, untaps. I assume this will be happening again at some point with the Day's Undoing. Opponent, drawn with Teferi. And a Narset Parter of Veils. Gotta add some redundancy to the wheel lock. Gets a Shark Typhoon. Well, we need to miraculously resolve a spell. Opponent gets in, hits us. Down to 12. We draw. Goblin Guide. Boom, play it. Sadly not lethal. Attack our opponent. Actually, does one even matter? Should we be attacking Teferi? Going to 1 keeps our opponent from cracking a fetch, I guess. But they have so much mana. Yeah, let's try to kill Teferi. Swords to Plowshares on top. Swords to Plowshares. Well, I mean, this is it. Riftbolt, do you have a counter? Opponent. Okay. Appears to have a counter. They're not conceding. No, they're forcing negation. Opponent untaps. Taking up Teferi. Taking down Narset. Getting a Narset. Opponent, or taking up Teferi rather, gets in with the Hullbreaker. I will say Price of Progress does not look great. We've played a lot of decks that have just infinite basics. Another Narset. Opponent takes down the Narset. Finds a Force of Will, so we still cannot win if we draw a burn spell. Oh my goodness. Oh no! Oh my god! Day's Undoing is such a blowout, because for this to be uncounterable, we need 2 spells in our graveyard. It's a blowout in every way. Opponent, Shark Typhoon. Wow, that is incredibly unfortunate. This Exquisite Firecraft is just taunting us. Yeah, we're dead. We know our opponent has a force. There's no way we can do it. Wow, that was a ridiculous blowout. This is the fun play style. Nice little play pattern here. Well, we'll bring in the Red Elemental Blast, I guess. We'll go down the Roiling Vortex, and I think we got to cut these Price of Progresses, which seem to do quite literally nothing. I mean, I guess at least Roiling Vortex kinda does something. Searing Blood could kill a Hullbreaker, I guess. Like, our opponent's just playing around Price of Progress so much, I don't think we can keep it. Smash, no. Leyline, no. Dead Gone, no. The problem is Teferi and the flat. Hullbreaker is just I don't know what Wizards was thinking. Thankfully, it doesn't get complained about that much just because it was released in a product that didn't go into most formats, but golly, is that a messed up Magic card. Well, I like the Red Blast. That's something. That was like, just getting blown out is one thing. That's fine. That happens. That one was especially brutal though, just because we were like so close. Yeah, I guess we just pass. We were just so close to winning. We had it in hand on our draw step when we got the old wheel lock. Well, play him out and Roiling Vortex you. Force number 1. Pitching Hull Breacher number 1. Opponent taps. Well, it'd be nice if we found a creature for some repeatable damage here. Island. Brainstorm. Yeah, it's hard to get all the way there with just burn spells with this hand. Opponent. Wow, Brainstorm locked. Creature. Skewer the Critics. Well, oh my goodness, we're doing nothing. All right, I guess we're passing. Awkward. Come on, Swift Spear, or Goblin Guide, or something. Opponent's going to Brainstorm again. I'm actually tempted to just counter this. Yeah, we're going to counter it. All right, opponent's going to force. Well, at least we got multiple forces out of our opponent's hand. Can the Brainstorm lock please continue? Looks like. We'll take it. Come on, deck. One more. Oh my goodness. We'll guarantee a treasure chest if we can win this. Our super budget legacy deck will have a winning record, guaranteed. Come on. Let's take down. Oh man, it would feel sweet to beat this deck after how they got us in game 1. The most annoyingly brutal way possible. So opponent's on the play for game 3. Can't count on the Brainstorm lock. It is the worst feeling when you brainstorm and you need lands and you see all non-lands. It is the worst. It's great when it happens to your opponent, though. All right. I mean, we need to draw another land, but this is fine. Opponent, Prismatic Vista, passes. Land, please. All right, there's the land. So we're going to suspend the Riftbolt. We want to get it down before Teferi comes down, because Teferi is very good against it. Opponent. Island. Ponder. So now the question's going to be, do we try to get down this Roiling Vortex, even though it means we risk a Teferi coming down? Riftbolt going at your face. Opponent down to 17. Well, Lava Spike you. Since we drew the land, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait one more turn and leave up the blast rather than just running out the vortex. Opponent plains, passes, we draw. Chain Lightning. Well, play the Mountain. If we cast all of our spells, we have what, 10? That's not enough. So let's Roiling Vortex. Pass the turn. Down to 13. Gets a Island. Okay, just shut Sargo Stark Typhoon. That is the least of our worries. That is perfectly acceptable. That is fine. Opponent down to 12. We are inching ever so slightly towards lethal here. Opponent hits us for 1. That's also fine. Down to 19. Opponent, Prismatic Vesta. Prismatic Ending. Yep. Opponent passes. Well, we will play a Goblin Guide. Go to combat. Attack. Top card is Prismatic Ending. Opponent down to 10. Lava Spike you. I mean, we're gonna stay the course. We're gonna leave up the Red Blast. Next turn might be the turn that we try to win. Opponent, Prismatic Ending. Tundra. And passes. We draw a Mountain, not great. Well, Chain Lightning you. Oh, opponent's thinking. They got a counter in hand by the look. Wow, we're so close. This Fire Blast is lethal. Force a negation. Red Blast it. Opponent goes to 4. Do we just do it? No fear? Fire Blast? Oh my god, they had another force. All right. Well, the good news is our opponent's hit 3, and we got rid of the Hull Breacher, and we have many Magic the Gathering cards that can deal 3. Opponent's got 1 card in hand. They just drew for their turn. Come on, deck. Come on. We need this one. Opponent, Narset, not great. For us, they take down. Please don't start flooding out. What do they find? Swords. Oh my goodness, Swords to Plowshares can gain just enough life to keep our opponent alive. Opponent passes. Oh no, Mountain off the top. That's the nightmare. Pass the turn. Oh no, not like this. Not like this. Opponent takes down Narset. Finds another Narset. Plays another Narset. It just keeps happening. Oh no. Opponent. Legend rules. Narset. There's a Days Undoing. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Opponent passes. We draw a Chain Lightning, which is not enough to win the game. It's not enough to win the game. Oh, because they can Swords their Shark and then Narset wheel us. Oh my goodness. No. And they'll get 7 cards. We'll have no cards. You know what we needed was that Exquisite Firecraft. That's what we needed. Does this mean we have to kill the Narset? That doesn't feel good either. So we go face. They Swords the Shark. Narset wheel. I mean, this feels bad, but I think we got to kill the Narset. Pass the turn? Goes to combat. What we would give to top deck Exquisite Firecraft, we would give it all, every bit. Come on, deck. All right, not the best time for the flood. Opponent untaps. 6 cards in hand. Exquisite Firecraft, 2 out of 45. Opponent hits us to 17. Okay, this is the issue with Burn. When this happens, it feels horrible. And you just really, there's not an easy solution. Opponent hits us. 16. Firecraft. Pass the turn. You know they're going to find another Narset or a Hull Breacher, and then it's over. Goes to combat. Apparently not drawing lands. Just solid action. Down to 15. Passes. Firecraft, please. Firecraft, please. Lightning Bolt. Play the Mountain. I mean, we have 2 burn spells. Let's suspend the Rift Bolt. Risky because of Teferi. Pass the turn. Opponent. Swords the Shark. Yep, up to 4. Snapcaster for nothing? Okay. Oh, they're going to Swords the Snapcaster? All right, opponent really wants to gain a bit of life here. It's a lot of work to gain a relatively small amount of life. So opponent goes up to 6 and plays a land. Teferi Time Raveler. That is the nightmare. Because that means we cannot cast our Suspended Rift Bolt, so that's really, really bad for us. I wonder if suspending it was a punt. Goblin Guide. Go to combat. Attack our opponent. Mountain on the top. Opponent has another Swords to Plowshares. Opponent. Taking up to Fairy. Land. And there it is. Narset wheel. Oh, we were so close. So close. Opponent, Days Undoing, wheels away our hand, and yeah. That was like, I don't know. Maybe you're gonna point out away in the chat that I should have played it different. That was the brutalist. The brutalist. Maybe suspending the Rift Bolt was a punt, although it's a punt that wouldn't have actually, with how it played out, 3 damage wouldn't have been the difference. My jaw is dropping. I mean, I guess the good news is we're clearly showing that our deck that is 1/50th the cost of a typical deck, which honestly, it's the equivalent of playing like a $2 deck competitively in standard. It's showing it can keep up with decks that have single cards that cost almost as much as our entire deck. I really wanted that one though. Well, it was an interesting match. My jaw is dropping as to how close that was. On to the next. Budget Magic time. We are budget burning. Playing a under $200 deck in a $4,000 deck format. Do we keep this is a question. Hi. 4 lands is, I think we got a mulligan. 4 lands is just, oh no, not like this, Magic Gods. Not like this. All right, well, Fire Blast to the bottom. Lava Spike to the bottom. Go 1-drops. Misty Rain for us. All right, starting with 5, not ideal. That's not ideal. Play a Mountain and Goblin Guide. Get in, attack you. I mean, triple 1-drop's not the worst. Opponent, oh my god, they're sneak attacking. Uh-oh. Okay, well. Played a lot of combo. Played a lot of combo decks. Opponent, Ancient Tomb. Oh my god, is this show and tell? Oh, geez. We will put a Goblin Guide into play. Hopefully our opponent puts something worse than a Goblin Guide into play. Omniscience. And the Emrakul. Well, if you're gonna die, die quick. That's my motto. And, woo! Yeah, combo's a tricky matchup for this deck. Roiling Vortex in, Red Blast in. I feel like we've played a lot of combo decks this league. We'd much rather play against, like, control style decks, although that control match. Well, we won the control match. We lost the Nurse that Wheel match. Firecraft can go down. And then probably the other thing I will say that has kind of shocked me, we have not really gotten any value out of Price of Progress. Price of Progress is like one of the reasons, maybe the reason outside of Fire Blast to play Burn-In Legacy. It's like supposed to be so absurd. Unfortunately, so many of our opponents don't have non-basics, or they have played around it very successfully and are able to fetch out mostly basics. So we have not gotten any. I mean, I think we had like a Price of Progress for 2 at one point or something, but we have not gotten any like, 6 damage Price of Progresses or anything. A land here would be really sweet. All right, there's a land. So we will, this is risky. We can play Roiling Vortex. The problem is if our opponent goes Ancient Tomb, Show and Tell, Emrakul, we just lose. Roiling Vortex is good against Omniscience Plan, though. Do we just have to, like, leave up? I mean, I think oh my god. Do we have to hope they don't have it? That's the question. If we don't get it down this turn, the problem is we don't have that many lands in the deck, so the odds of drawing one next turn, not super high. It does trigger Prowess. And then next turn, we could start leaving up the blast. Opponent kept 7. That makes me think they probably have Soul Land kill us. Yeah, all right. Lava Spike you. Take that 3, opponent, and then get in with the Monastery Swift Spear. Opponent down to 14 pass. The turn untaps. Well, we're not dead yet. Mountain, and opponent passes. See, everyone got basics. Basics for days. Basics for days. Chain Lightning you. Opponent down to 11. Go to combat. Hit ya. Down to 9. Pass the turn. Cracks the land. Oh, we're really trusting that this Red Blast is going to save us. Get some basics, so our Price Progress doesn't do anything. Hey, okay. Shock mode achieved. Simian Spirit Guide as a blocker. Spicy. Opponent passes. We draw Eidolon of the Great Revel. So awkward. Well, I mean, I think we pass. The Simian Spirit Guide, actually, pretty good roadblock at the moment. Lotus Petal. I mean, if they have enough mana, they can sneak attack, activate, show and tell. Well, I mean, we're going to Red Blast. For sure. Okay, not dead yet. A bolt that we could cast pre-combat would be sweet. Eidolon. Roiling Vortex. Not sure this will be enough. Go to combat. Hit you with the Swift Spear. Opponent chumps. All right. Opponent gets pinged down to 7. Oh, this is so close. The Red Blast kept us alive. We'll see if our opponent just has another way to sneak something into play. Land. Cracks. Oh, they got it. Sneak attack for Emrakul. There goes our board. Yeah, not quite fast enough. Opponent goes to 6. Emrakul shuffles in land. All right, we do draw a land, which I guess gives us some small amount of hope if our opponent is out of action. Opponent passes. Come on, deck. Land, land, land. All right, we draw land. Eidolon of the Great Revel. Go. One more. We need one more turn. We need one more turn. No top deck seas. No top deck seas. Come on. The price of progress might finally come through. Maybe. Opponent passes. A land would be fine. We draw a land. Go to combat. Attack you. Opponent abrades. Well, in response, we will price of progress. Oh my god. We survived an Emrakul hit. We got smacked by Emrakul and managed to survive. We had to get lucky and draw those lands, but it worked. Wow, this matchup's scary. All right, run it back. I mean, try to do that again somehow. Come on. This is for the winning record with under $200 deck and Legacy. Come on, deck. You can do it. Give us that sweet, sweet treasure chest. Turn 1, suspend Riftbolt. Turn 2, Eidolon. That doesn't seem likely to be enough. What is actually helpful? Just the blast, but we only have 2, so I don't think we can even mulligan for the blast. Do we just keep this? Eidolon's like, okay. We don't have a 1-drop. Let's mulligan. All right, there's some 1-drops. We will put a skewer to the bottom. And, well, here we go. We got some damage. Is it going to be fast enough? Opponent again keeping 7, which again probably means they can do their thing. Snow-covered island. Ponder. Well, we'd like to draw blast. That would be helpful. No shuffling, unfortunately. Well, mountain. There's our skewer again. Goblin Guide. Did our opponent leave a land on top? Did they play for the Goblin Guide attack? We're about to find out. And the answer is no. Oh my god, Omniscience. Okay, that could be a problem. Oh, they have the full turn 2 kill. Lotus Petal, Show and Tell, Swift Spear for Omniscience. I don't know if we can ever beat a draw like this. Our chance of beating this is being able to put Roiling Vortex into play. Lightning Bolt. Well, apparently our opponent doesn't just have the win. I'll play the land. Lightning Bolt, Simian Spirit Guide. Opponent's last card is a Spell Pierce. Chain Lightning, Simian Spirit Guide. The question's going to be what's on the top of our opponent's deck. We're about to find out. It needs to not be good. Go to combat, attack you. Top card. Okay, they get the land though. Is this Goblin Guy betraying us? Opponent, untaps, passing, okay. Fiery Islet. Lightning Bolt you. Skewer the Critics you. Go to combat, attack you. Is it happening? Oh, we survived! Turn 2 Omniscience! We survived! Wow! They just didn't have the finish. They had the Ponder. Turn 2 Omniscience off a Show and Tell. Ponder, shuffle, whiff. And we just kept attacking with our Goblin Guides, and it got there. That means we get a treasure chest to open. Wow. Wow. That was a sweet win. I don't know if is there a scarier card in Magic to have on the battlefield other than Omniscience? I don't know if there is, honestly. Well, let's crack our treasure chest. See if we can get something valuable. Only 1, but still. Under $200 deck in Legacy? Yeah. Necropolis Fiend. Delve is such a powerful mechanic, but for some reason this one, maybe it's a double black, maybe it's Tombstalker, maybe it's Gurmag Angler or Tassiger, but for whatever reason, Necropolis Fiend never really saw play. Well, anyway, we'll talk about it in the wrap-up, but apparently an under $200 deck can compete in a $4,000 deck format. Sweet. So what did we learn this week about super budget Legacy Burn? And overall, we went 3-2 in our league. So we got our treasure chest, posted a winning record, which, considering how budget this deck is compared to the cost of the Legacy format, I was thrilled with that. And if you actually look at our matchups, it was even better than that. The one matchup, oh my goodness, against the Hullbreacher Narset Wheellock deck. Oh, that one is still so painful. We were so close twice to closing out the game, only to get Narset Wheel to instant speed when we had the lethal bird spells in hand. So that one was ridiculously close to being another win. On the other hand, we saw a couple of weird things. We played a lot of combo. We played Oops All Spells. We played 2 different Show and Tell Omniscience, Emrakul, Omnitel style decks. Those matchups are really frightening. We did see that we can beat them. At the same time, we did see how we can lose to fast combo, where our opponents opponents just like turn one, do all our oops all spell stuff, combo off, win the game, our deck doesn't really interact with that. Our deck's like a combo deck that has the upside of being really consistent, but the downside that even with our best draws, we're winning at like turn 3 or turn 4. When we run into a combo deck that can win on turn 1, turn 2, we just don't really have a ton of interaction. I mean, sometimes Leyline of the Void can help. Sometimes the 2 red Elemental Blast, we saw them be key against Show and Tell. Sometimes stuff like that can help, but really fast combo, we're just kind of like crossing our fingers, hoping our opponent stumbles a little bit and we can get a fast draw, but they are tricky matchups. On the other hand, I mean, we took down a control deck. We took down Omnitel multiple times, so the deck actually felt pretty competitive. The other weird thing, which makes me think the deck might perform even better than it looked in our league, is our best spell, Price of Progress, was hilariously bad in this league. So many decks that we played against had almost no non-basics on the battlefield, and maybe this is partly because our opponents knew we were Burn, knew we had Price of Progress, so they were focusing on fetching out non-basics, but we had a lot of games where Price of Progress was pretty much a dead card. I think we got 2 damage out of it one time. I think once we got 4 damage out of it, but we never had those dream games where our opponent has like 3 or 4 or 5 non-basics and we're just like Price of Progress, kill you. That just didn't happen. So I don't think that means Price of Progress is bad, but I was actually actively surprised at how little it impacted this league in specific. But really, if you want to play Legacy and you don't want to spend anywhere near Legacy prices, I think that Burn is the best option, and I think that this updated 2022 version is a pretty good place. You can see this comes from Indomitable, and they actually played it in a Legacy 5K and finished top 8 with it, so we know this deck actually has some tournament cred in a weird way. So if you want to check out the Legacy format, but you don't have $4,000, $6,000, $10,000 to spend on a deck, I think that Burn is the way to go. And even better, if you're someone who has a Modern collection, you might actually have most of the expensive cards. You might have the Goblin Guides and the Eidolon of the Great Revels, and then you're just snagging some uncommons like Fire Blast, snagging some relatively cheap Chain Lightnings because they've been reprinted a bunch. So you might already have a huge portion of the expensive cards in this deck and just be able to kind of throw together Legacy Burn and play it on Magic Online, play it if you got a Legacy event locally or whatever. So anyway, that's Legacy Burn. That's been our budget magic for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.